Hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's session. Very happy to have you all today with us. My name is Alina Dano. I'm an Education USA advisor, and here we are with another interesting session. So, as you know, Education USA is here to assist you with interesting webinars monthly, and this month was dedicated to the test optional policy to discuss the standardized test and what they give. And we will have a session on the test optional this Thursday. But today we have invited a student, which I would say has a very successful story. And this story, it's not only successful because it is successful, but it's because a lot of hard work he put into this application process. So you have seen him last month within our pre-departure orientation. And we have invited him once more this August. So we can just talk specifically about his story. And this is Arslan. Arslan, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited that you will share your success story and you will just tell us what is behind that and what were the struggles you had and what were, some challenges you also faced during this difficult path, let's say, because it is. And for those students who are now in the process of their application, they for sure know how difficult it is. So I will just give you the floor so you can introduce yourself and talk more about the institution. And we will just put the presentation on the screen because Arslan has prepared a really nice presentation, which I really hope you'll enjoy. We don't really do that, but he showed interest to do so. So I hope you'll enjoy it. Thank you so much. And I'm going to give you the floor.
All right, perfect. Well, hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for coming today. And I hope you will get a lot of beneficial information from this presentation. And thank you so much for the Education USA for giving me the opportunity to share my success stories with you. So today, my presentation's called is From Application to Campus Leader. So I will be talking about how did I apply to the US universities, why I chose the universities, and etc. So we can start to the presentation now. So here is basically the overview of the presentation. So first of all, I will be talking about myself. So who am I, what was I doing in Turkmenistan, and what I am doing currently in the United States, all of my leadership experiences and more. And secondly, I will be talking about why study in the United States. So why I chose studying in the US universities, what inspired me to do that, and etc. And I will be also talking briefly introduction to the Kent State University. So currently I'm studying at the Kent State University as a junior student, and I will be talking about my university, why I chose that university, and more. And next, we have my personal experience as a student and opportunities and student involvement. So as I mentioned, I am very involved on campus, and I will be sharing my experiences as a start and as an international student. And also at the end, we will have a small Q&A sessions. So here's me and my friends. So what was I doing in Turkmenistan? And so here are the list of the things that I was involved in Turkmenistan. And we have the first one, which is undergraduate cohort advising program. So I am an alumnus of that program. So what basically is that is, it's UCA is Education USA is one of the program which prepares high school students for the US universities, but they changed the name after my cohort. So it should have the different name right now. But so on that program, so this is basically a very competitive program. They choose only 10 to 15 students from each region, and I was one of the students from cohort. And so during that program, we got a chance to learn about US higher education system, standardized tests, English proficiency tests, TOEFL and SAT, and other things, and how to apply to the US universities and more. So we had our Education USA advisors, and we also had like professors and in specific classes. For example, we have a person who was teaching SAT classes, a person who was teaching TOEFL classes, and etc. So we had sessions on each Saturday. And I was also a volunteer at the Dashoguz American Corner in my country. So I'm originally from Turkmenistan, Dashoguz, Turkmenistan, and we had a place called Dashoguz American Corner. So in that place, so basically, it's a place where people come and learn English for free through the presentations, activities, and we also had a library and a lot of books. And we also provided a lot of computers, 3D printing, and more. So as you can see from the pictures, this is me and my friends on our volunteering place. So I was doing a lot of presentations and like different activities about United States culture and STEM topics and etc. And moreover, I also did volunteering at the Red Crescent Society, special orphanage for children with tuberculosis illnesses. I also did and participated in a lot of webinars through the UNDP, UNICEF, and United Nations. And I did some other more volunteerings as well. And last but not least, I was a participant of Japan International Youth Innovation Summit, and I was a Turkmenistan representative on that program. So basically, Japan International Youth Innovation Summit brings delegates from all the countries, and I was an only one from Central Asia, not only from Turkmenistan. And there I represented my country, and I also had my own project called Empower Her. So on that Empower Her project, so my project was dedicated to educating women in Turkmenistan and for free. So I was a chapter ambassador and the founder of that program in my country. So we educated more than 200 girls with the help of more than 15 volunteers in different regions. So this is basically about my involvement in Turkmenistan. And now we go to my involvement in the United States. So as I mentioned, I am a junior student at the Kent State University and honors college student as well. And I am double majoring in international studies and human development and family science. So I have two majors at the university. And moreover, I am a student leader within different organizations. So let me list you some of the organizations that I'm a part of. So I was a mentor at my honors college, so peer-to-peer mentor, where I was helping freshman students to adjust to the campus life. And I'm also a member of Alpha Lambda Delta Honors Society. And I'm a student assistant at the senior vice president office. And I also worked at the recreation and vendor services as a supervisor and more. So I have a separate slide on the upcoming slides. And I am also serving as a president for the Central Asian Student Association. So basically, I'm both a founder and the president of that association because we didn't have anything related to the Central Asian students. So I opened that last April, and we are so excited to start doing a lot of great things this semester. And I am also a senator for the international students with the undergraduate cohort government. Yes, undergraduate student government. So basically what that is so we will be voice of the student body, like undergraduate student body, and I will be representing international students and advocating for them. And I'm also a participant of different conferences. So here at the university, they organize, and if you are involved in different organizations, you will be able to attend to the different conferences. And last year, I attended to the National Association for Campus Activities, where it's held in Ohio, but in a different city. And they were a lot of student leaders from all the universities around the United States. And I am also a winner of some of the awards. For example, on my first slide, you saw me because I was a winner of Emerging Student Leader Award of the Year. So they chose winners among the university students, and I was one of the winners for that award. And I also won the First Generation Student Award because I am a first generation student from my family. And moreover, I am doing a lot of different marketing positions. For example, I'm doing a marketing for our Center for Student Involvement, Flash Activities Board organizations, and I did that throughout the summer as well. And it turned out really great because of the result. We got more than 2,000 followers and more than 200,000 views and etc. in just 3 months. And I'm also doing a lot of volunteering through the United Nations organizations, and I will talk more about that on the upcoming slides. So most importantly, and that's the biggest questions that I get asked a lot of the times. So why I chose studying in the United States. So first of all, I will tell you a little story about how I start learning English. So basically, I started learning English on my 6th grade. So yes, we were learning English from the 1st grade, but I started becoming more interested in English on my 6th grade because my grandma, they should be like all of my family members should be watching me right now. So thanks to my grandma, so I went to the educational center with her, and she registered me for the beginner course, and I studied on that on that educational center from beginner level to the advanced level of English. And during those studies, I also started volunteering in a lot of places, and they really inspired me to go to work on the global issues. For example, I was very involved in climate actions and more. So after that volunteering, I started becoming more interested, and that was one of the reasons that I chose my international studies major. And later on, I joined to the EducationUSA program. So I actually applied to the EducationUSA program for 2 times, because on my first try, I didn't get into it because I would say I was not so ready enough. So I worked on my mistakes. I really worked hard on myself, and I get into that program on my 2nd try. And so now we go to the reasons. So why I chose studying in the United States. So first of all, and one of the most important one is international perspective. So as my major is international studies, studying in the United States would be very beneficial, because here in the universities, there are a lot of students from all around the world. For example, at my university, we have students from around like 100 countries. And that was one of the reasons, because you will get to get a chance to learn about their cultures, learn about their backgrounds, and learn about a whole different country. And also studying in the United States is a very different thing, because it's completely different than our countries. Like most of the things are different. So I wanted to get the international perspective by studying in here. And the flexible academic system. So what does it mean is, so when you come to the US universities, you are able to choose your own classes, the time, the professor, what classes do you want to take, and etc. So it's very flexible. And that was one of the reasons I chose studying in the United States. Because, for example, let's say you are not a morning person, so you can take the evening classes or afternoon classes. So everything is flexible. And for example, you can also change your professors and choose the class that you want to take, and etc. But there are some like required classes for your major and for your university, but you can also decide when do you want to take them on your first semester or at the end of the year, and etc. And other thing is double majoring opportunities. So as I told you, I'm double majoring in international studies and human development and family science. So here in the US universities, you can do a 2 major. So for example, when I came here, I had my major, which was human development and family science, but on my 2nd semester, I added my 2nd major, which is international studies. And one more thing is you can also you can add a minor. What does minor mean is, yes, you will have your majors, which is like a main thing, and you can also add additional minor. And so, for example, for the minor, most people add based on their hobbies. For example, if they are interested in photography or advertising, they add minor in photography or advertising. So, but you can always check that on your university's website, because they will be offering a lot of programs for the both major and for the minor as well. And it's better to, yes, you can check it from the university's website, but if you have any questions, you can always reach out to university's international admissions. And other reason is diverse and inclusive communities. So as I told you, at my university, we have around, students from around 100 countries. And so, for example, we have a lot of students from Asia, from Africa, and from Europe countries and more. So it's very diverse, and you will get a chance to learn about different things from them. And because everybody, like every community has a different perspective, so it gives you a chance to learn about different things. And leadership and internship opportunities is another reason why I chose studying in the United States, because as I told you, I try to be very involved in a lot of like leadership organizations and etc. So in the United States, you don't come only to study here, but you can also do a lot of like extracurricular work on campus. And internship opportunities is also a great thing, because here in the United States there are a lot of like companies and organizations, so you can apply to the internships there. And my application journey, so during my EducationUSA undergraduate cohort advising program, I applied to more than 20 universities in more than 5 countries. So I applied to the US, obviously, and I also applied to Turkey, Hungary, and Japan, and more. So I applied to the different governmental scholarships, and I got accepted into 13 of them, 13 US universities. And so let me give you an example of which universities I got accepted. So I got accepted into the Curry College, Drexel University, Kent State, Miami University, Long Island University, Ferry State University, Caldwell University, and more. And yes. So yes, I got accepted into a lot of universities, but why I chose Kent State University? So Kent State University, it has a very strong academic programs. For example, it has a very strong program which is related to my major as well. For example, in the international studies and the human development and family science, they have a very great academic programs. And for example, if you want to major in business or fashion, we also have a lot of great programs in here. And double majoring opportunities. So as I mentioned here in I guess almost in all the US universities, you can apply, you can do a double majoring where you can choose a 2 major and do it at the same time and graduate with 2 degrees. And we have an honors college, which was one of the reasons that I chose, because what the basically honors college is. So honors college is a college for the students with high academic achievements. So if you have a high GPA or a great background, you can apply to the honors college, and they can also give you a lot of scholarships. And that was one of the reasons. And next one is strong international student support. So here at our Kent State University, we have a lot of like different international student organizations, and I'm also a part of it, and we organize a lot of international events. For example, we have a biggest one which is called Global Safari Festival, where each countries will be represented their own cultures, traditions to singing, presenting, and modeling, and etc. So here we have a very great international student support. And as I told you, a lot of leadership opportunities. And another reason was scholarship, because Kent State was the best fit for me, both academically, personally, and most importantly, financially as well. So here are the number of the scholarships that I got. So from the university, I got global scholarship and honors scholarship. So global scholarship will be given based on your background, academic achievements, and your GPA. And the honors college is when you honors scholarship is when you apply to the honors college. If you get into that, you can get the honors scholarship as well. And as I told you, I was an alumnus of one of the EducationUSA programs, and from that I was able to apply to the top-up scholarship, and I got that scholarship as well. And I also got the opportunity funds. And another thing is, here at the US universities, yes, I got the global scholarship and the honors scholarship before coming here, but after coming here I was also able to apply to the different scholarships. For example, I applied to a separate scholarship from the honors college. I applied to the different scholarship from my own college, for example, College of Humanities and Arts and etc. So I got a lot of departmental scholarships as well. And the campus is most importantly. The campus is very very welcoming. So a campus where I felt I could belong and make an impact. So when I saw the campus, all the videos and people were sharing their own experiences at the Kent State University, and I felt very belong to the Kent State campus. And here are the list of the organizations that I am a part of. So the first one is the Flash Activities Board. So in most of the universities, they do have their activities board where we organize free events for the students. For example, we organize karaoke nights and bigger events such as like Winter Blast, Fall Fest, Halloween events, and more. And we do like multiple different events through the Flash Activities Board. So I joined to that organization as a volunteer first, and then I got into the event staff position, and now I'm serving as a director of marketing. So everything started from the volunteering, and now I'm serving as a director. And other one is we have international student councils. So as I mentioned, we have a lot of international organizations, and ISC is one of them. So on the ISC, I'm serving as a communication chairs. And the next one is Central Asian Student Association. So this is the organizations that I actually opened, and I'm serving as a president for now. So on that organizations, we show and represent Central Asian and Turkic countries' culture, traditions, and more to our Kent State community. And as I mentioned, I'm an honors college student, and I am also a student assistant at the Office of the Senior Vice President. And I was also a peer-to-peer mentor at the honors college. And I was also in a choir. I was singing as a baritone singer. And next one, we have Alpha Lambda Delta Honors Society, and Center for Student Involvement is one of them. So as I mentioned, I did like a lot of marketing work during the summer, and CSI was one of them. And I also work with the Office of Global Education as well, where I help with organizing events and for example, helping to the students before they come to the US universities. I do like a different webinars in different countries, and I also help with the delegation and other things. And next one is recreation and wellness services. So there I also started as an assistant, but later on I got the supervisor position. And this one is we have a specific organization for the international studies major students, and I was a part of that. And the next one we have USG, which is undergraduate student government. So as I mentioned, I'm a senator for the international students. And last but not least, I did the research during the summer undergraduate research experience program. And fun part, so here are all the pictures, all of my experiences from my university. So on the first picture is on our international student orientation. So basically what that is, so when you come to the US universities, you will have a lot of questions about basically about everything. So on the international student orientation, they explain you everything, show you the around, and will explain you what to do. And you will also get a chance to meet with a lot of faculty and staff from the university, a lot of students from different countries, and more. And on the second picture, we were representing our countries. So we have a homecoming here, and as a member of the International Student Councils, we were walking on the parade with our flags. And this picture is from our Flash Activities Board, where I was a volunteer. And the fourth one is we organized, as I mentioned, a lot of like cultural events, and this was from one of the Turkmen cultural events where a lot of people from Turkmenistan came, delegation came, and it was fun to showcase our own cultures and traditions to the Kent State community. And on the fifth picture, we have, like, as I mentioned, they do a lot of like leadership projects and workshops. And this is one of them. For example, it's called Dinner with Friends, where we discussed different global problems on like how to solve them, how we can find solutions to different problems and more. And these are the pictures. So basically, Ms. Manzura here is my EducationUSA advisor, and Ogulcake, she was also a student at the Kent State University. So basically, when I came here, they were only 2 students. So Ms. Manzura was doing her master's degree, and Ogulcake was doing her bachelor's degree. And so it was only 4 of us, and now we have more than 10 students from Turkmenistan. And more pictures. So as I mentioned, I won the Emerging Student Leader of the Year award. This is a picture from that, and others are my pictures from different webinars and different sessions, and pictures from with my friends. And this is also a question that I got a lot asked. So in my experience with the English proficiency and SAT tests, so when I applied to the US universities, I took the Duolingo English test, because the reasons that I chose was, so Duolingo and the TOEFL was only options in Turkmenistan, and I chose Duolingo because it was both affordable and flexible, because you are able to take that test like anywhere, but it should be a quiet space. And I chose to take Duolingo, and I sent all of my results to all of the universities that I applied. And I also applied during the test optional time, so that's why I didn't take the SAT. So SAT is a test where not all the universities require. So before applying to the US universities, you should always check if they are requiring SAT test or not. So if they are requiring, you should take that. But if they don't require, you can just send your application with your English proficiency test. And my recommendation would be, so as I mentioned, check university's official website and check if they accept Duolingo, TOEFL, or if they require SAT and etc. So you should be always checking to that. So with my experience, I applied during the test optional time. So if you want to send your SAT, you can send it, but if you don't want to send it, it doesn't affect a lot to anything. And so yeah, as I said here, none of the universities I applied required SAT test. And because I mostly focused on strengthening other parts of my application. For example, I wrote a really great cover letter by talking about my experience, because I was very involved like outside of school, so I wanted to showcase those strengths. And my advice is always check each university's current testing policy before applying, because each of them can change year by year, so it's better to check them before applying. And here are some of the contact information of mine. So first one is my Instagram page. So Kent State CASA is my Central Asian Student Association. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to that. Or if you have any questions, like personally to me, you can always use this Instagram page. And here is our CASA Kent State email address. And if you want to get connected with me through the LinkedIn, you can always add me on the LinkedIn and I will add you back, because LinkedIn is a great place to connect, because we can share our own experiences, and basically it's a great place. So if you send me a connect request, I'll just accept it. And yes, it was the end of the presentation, and we can now go to the questions.
Thank you so much, Arslan. Thank you so much for the presentation. I hope it's more attractive and more interactive to the students, so they can see with their eyes how the Greek life of the student is looking like. Because you shared a lot of pictures from the campus, and yes, it looks very nice. Great. So we have a lot of questions that the students addressed in advance because they have this opportunity. So I will go on every one of those. And if meanwhile the students who are live with us have additional questions, you can submit them in the comment section. We'll make sure to answer all of them. So one of the first questions is, what makes an extracurricular activity demonstrate genuine leadership rather than simply participation, in your opinion?
All right. So extracurricular activities, as I mentioned, is a big part of my campus life, because I also joined to that extracurricular activities as just a participant at first, and then because joining into that organizations will help you to navigate into the campus life and then learn like different things, and after that you can get to the leadership positions, because there will be a lot of like discussions. You will help with organizing the events, and you can get a lot of like leadership roles, I would say. So it's better to participate in that extracurricular activities both before coming to the universities and after coming to the like during your university time as well. So yeah, I'm not sure if I answered the question correctly. So that's my experience with that.
Definitely. From your side, I would say it's 100% correct. From my side, as an EducationUSA advisor, I would say that it differs. General leadership will be demonstrated by the term. So you showing results, not just for 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, but showing it for a long time, which actually is Arslan's case. So he was involved in different activities, and he got results for each of these activities. Usually I'm recommending the students, especially for instance they are applying this fall, to not focus on an activity which will be just for showing that I did some volunteering, or just volunteered for a shelter for 2 weeks or for 3 weeks. So this should be ongoing. This should be an activity that showcases the duration, the results, because you will list that as an activity which was very important. And in Arslan case, I think you already seen in the presentation how many of them were. And it's impressive because you dedicated a lot of time. That's why sometimes students are very focused on their leadership activity, and this is what stands out in their application. And for other students, maybe some research projects, or maybe, I don't know, maybe their hackathons, or maybe their participation in the Olympiads will stand out. So each one is.
Yeah, that's true. And I also wanted to add on one thing. So like, as Miss Alina said, volunteering is a great thing, because you will be able to bring all of your skills that you gain from volunteering to the university life. Because when I came here, there were a lot of things that like most of the students that couldn't do that. So it's a great place to showcase your abilities that you gain from that extracurricular activities. And also another thing is, when you apply to the US universities, yes, they look at your application and your tests and other things, but they mostly will be looking for the extracurricular activities. So what did you do before coming here, and what you can bring to the student community? Because as I mentioned, studying in a US university is not only about the studies, but also a campus life. So yeah, it's a great thing to
What
do.
you can bring in the community. That's what we are always telling our students to include in their personal statement. That's where you will be seen. That's where you will highlight your individuality and what you can bring. And by the way, when you were talking about all these activities, it came to my mind that there are a lot of students who maybe don't have the time to do all that because maybe they are coming from a bigger family, or maybe they should do a lot of things at home. I mean, they are focusing on their academic life, but still they don't have that much activity to do some, extra activities. So I was thinking that a good example would be maybe if you have some more siblings, or if you have, I don't know, your family maybe has a farm, for example, and you are helping them with that. That's also a good example showcasing your leadership activities, because you are organizing. That's time management. That's organizing. That's organizing a lot of stuff. So that's organization, and you can even include that in your common up extracurricular list. So everything can be listed, and don't worry if you don't have the time to focus a lot on those leadership activities. Okay, the next question. What are the most important things international students should focus on to make their US university application stronger and increase their chances of receiving scholarships? In your case, have you received a scholarship, or was that in your case or not? If you can just share more about that.
Yes. So as I presented on my slides, I got like a lot of different scholarship from different universities, and so what stand out about my U.S. application is basically all of my extracurricular activities, as I mentioned, and because when I applied here, as I mentioned, I didn't take the SAT tests. That's why I was always mostly trying to showcase my like extracurricular activities side. So I think that's one of the biggest thing that stands out. And also another thing to consider is when you apply to the US universities, apply as many universities as you can. Because yes, there are a lot of universities with higher names, for example, Harvard or Yale and other universities. Yes, you can apply to that, but also try to like add small universities, for example, universities to your safety list. So that's another thing, because the things that I see in most of the international student is they apply to all the universities which had a lower acceptance rates, and if they don't get accepted to that, they try to apply in the next year. But in your case, you can always apply to the different universities, and when you come here, maybe you can transfer to your dream school university, or you can do your master's degree in your dream school, and etc. And another thing is you should start preparing your application 12 to 18 months in advance, because US higher education system is completely different than most of the universities. So you should be doing everything early. For example, I started doing mine when I was a 10th grader on my high school, because like all of my classmates were worried about like class exams and other things, and I was doing all of my applications and other things. So if you start early, that would be great, and do as many research as you can, because each university, yes, they are like more than 4,000 universities, as I know, in the United States, and all of them differ from each other. So for example, if you want to major in fashion, you can always check to the universities which has a strong fashion programs and etc. So it's better to do a big research, and that's what I did. I did a lot of research based on the scholarship, locations, how much is the total cost of attendance, and yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I would say generally answering this question from my side as an EducationUSA advisor, it depends also on the major that you are applying. Let's say that you are applying for computer science, and in your case, maybe the chances for you to increase your chances receiving the scholarship might be participating in different activities which should be related to computer science. And it depends also when are you applying? So Arslan recommended a very good thing here, that you should prepare in advance and you should start earlier, because that means that maybe as they are, the US institutions are having this approach of holistic admission, maybe you'll stand out with your extracurriculars, as Arslan's case, or maybe you will stand out with your Olympiads, or maybe because you are an introvert person and you haven't participated in so many extracurricular activities, you will stand out with your research papers because you have done a lot of them, or maybe you had some projects that you have done yourself and you have very good results, which you can definitely list in your extracurricular list. So there are a lot of ways to increase your chances. And here is the help of the EducationUSA advisors, because we are trying to guide you depending on your profile on what would work best for you and best for your case. And again, Arslan is a good case. Why the extracurriculars work is because he also chose a major that is related to those extracurricular activities. He did some internships in an international environment, and his major is also international studies, right?
Yes.
So it makes sense, right? So yeah, just try to schedule a meeting with us, a consultation, then we can just give you more information on what would work specifically for you. Okay, the next question is, I think it's super dedicated to you. What were the biggest challenges you faced during the application process, specifically from Turkmenistan? Were there some challenges you have faced during this process?
Yes, absolutely. There were a lot of challenges. One of the biggest one is like it's a simple one. For example, internet connection can be a big problem because there are a lot of resources that you need to get in, and it requires like a high internet connection, I would say. And other biggest challenge for me was like believing in myself, because as I mentioned, I'm a first generation student, and I would because like there were some people who got accepted into Kent State University, to the US universities from American corners that I was volunteering. They really inspired me, but still, like from my relatives, from my family members, they were none of the people who got accepted into not only like US universities, but also like universities in Europe and other countries, because they were going to the mostly to the Turkey or Russia and etc. So I had a fear of not getting accepted at what I do and etc. That's why I needed to like overcome that, and I needed to step outside of my comfort zone, because yes, they can be like none of the students from your country who are studying in the US, but you should be the first one. You can show that everyone can do it. That's what I'm doing right now, because I'm trying to help all the students and based on my own knowledge and based on my own experience. And yes, and another thing was I actually didn't have a lot of challenges, I would say, because the Education USA program helped me a lot with understanding a lot of different things. But when I came here as an international student, I had some challenges. For example, transportation was a biggest problem for me, because yes, there are some public transportations, but if you don't know, you don't know how to use it on your first semester. That's why that was my biggest challenge, and it's still a challenge. If you don't have a transportation, you'll see that a lot. And also like getting used to the campus life is also a very different and very challenging things, because when I came here I was only 18 years old, and language barriers can be also the problems, because English is not our first language. And so these are all the challenges. But so to solve the challenges, there are a lot of resources that you can use. For example, here at the universities, there are a lot of like international admissions who can help you with if you have any questions, if you have any problems or questions during your first semester, they can always help you that. So it's better to check that out and ask questions, because most people are afraid to ask questions. So they can think if they ask questions, they might seem weak or something like that. So, but in my case, I was always like asking questions and getting help from my advisors and professors.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, the next question, which is also related to SAT, could you please clarify in which specific cases the SAT is required? I understand that not all universities require it. I can jump here saying that we'll have a webinar this Thursday with two institutions, with Rice and St. John's University, and we'll discuss the test optional policy. So one institution is requiring a standardized test, the other is not. So you can just see the perspective from both of them and why they are requiring it for specific students. I would say that my answer would be pretty similar to the same I've answered before. So depending on your profile, if you're applying maybe for a STEM major, I would definitely encourage the student to apply for it. But maybe if he stands out with some other things in his application, like in Arslan's case, maybe we can just discuss it and see what are your strength points. I don't know if you want to add here something, Arslan?
Not really, but as I said in my presentation as well, check universities' official websites and see like what do they require. If they require SAT, you should take the SAT. If not, you can just apply with your like all the extracurricular activities and your English proficiency test if you believe that they are strong. And in my case, as I mentioned, I applied during the test optional, and all the universities that I applied didn't require SAT. So, yep.
And also SAT, it might not be for everyone. You can have it, but you maybe will not score the number of points that you want and you need for your application. So in the end, you will not submit it, but you have paid for it, right? So I would say that SAT needs to be taken by those students who definitely understand, they have a critical thinking about the fact if they will have the desired score or not. Because if, for instance, you haven't prepared for it and you want to apply this August, or you want to take it September, October, then maybe it's not a good timing because you haven't prepared for it. So there are a lot of things to discuss regarding SAT, and we will do that on Thursday. Great, thank you. The next question, what if I have nothing to say about volunteering or extracurricular activities, which is not your case?
Yeah. As we already discussed, you can show your English proficiency test, and if you are strong in SAT, you can show that. And as Miss Alina said, you can also always talk about if you like took care of your sister or helped with your family business. You can also always mention that on your application, because on a Common App, like Common App is basically a platform where you can apply to the US universities. And when you talk about your extracurricular activities, there is a section which says, did you do any family business? Did you help with taking care of someone, and etc. So you can always mention that as well. And there can be always something. For example, when you want to write a cover letter, you can maybe write about something can be simple for you, but it can be a bigger thing for others. So you can just write everything in your cover letter in a really great way, and it can also stand out.
By cover letter, you mean the personal statement, right?
Yeah, personal statement.
Okay, great. So we will not confuse the students. Great. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really like the points that you have mentioned. The personal statement is always a very important part of the application, and you can definitely stand out with it. And yes, maybe your SAT will be good, or maybe you have some research activities, or maybe you have participated in a lot of contests or Olympiads where you have a lot of honors, and you can focus on those. And the last question we have is, I would like to ask about extracurricular activities, building a portfolio, and make sure that I've compiled an accurate list of universities. This thing of accurate, I've compiled an accurate list of university, I think is very important here, because students tend to choose, not to say wrong schools, but schools which are not the best fit for them. And they are just applying to them because they are offering that scholarship, but they are not seeing where they are disobeying about the acceptance rate or the acceptance rate of at that institution. What in your case was the, what do you think should be an accurate list of universities? Because you said you applied to 20 plus of them, you have been accepted to 13 of them. What do you think made it to have so many acceptances from the universities?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I really did great research on the universities that I was applying. And for example, as I mentioned, I was doing a volunteering in different organizations, and when I checked the universities, I was also seeing if they have anything like any organizations related to that. So I like, for example, let's say I was very interested in singing and other things, so I was looking for if they have any like choirs or like singing organizations that I joined. So that's how I chose my universities about the extracurricular activities. And I would like to give a small tip as well. So let's say you found an organization that you really want to join in your like when you come to the university. For example, let's say here I joined to the Kora Kantare, and I did know before coming to the US, like before coming to the Kent State, and I mentioned on my cover letter as well, which will help you show to the other people that you care about your university, you care about your application, and you know everything about the universities, and not only the application process but also a student life. So that was my case. And as I mentioned, you can, like, yes, high school and your grades are very important, but you can also have some time to do different kind of extracurricular activities. It can be both volunteering, or it can also be a hobby that you are in, like your hobby. For example, you can go to the for example, basketball school and etc. Maybe if you win a competition, you can always mention that on your application. And about the sports is very another important thing, because for example, at my university, if you are an athlete or if you get a lot of like places in the different competitions, you can apply to the scholarships in here. So we have a scholarships specifically for the athletes, so it can also play a big role on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all the tips. I really loved it. And one of my also tip would be that to not focus on the rankings. That's definitely a myth. Please don't do that. And Arslan also mentioned it. So it doesn't mean that you will select the first 20 most ranked universities. I mean, they will be for you specifically. As he said, analyze it more in depth, because students tend to not doing it that deep. They tend to do it more superficial.
Yeah.
I think I also forgot that for the strength points, and we also had a webinar with the student who took also AP exams. So maybe for those students who are specifically STEM oriented, that might be also an option. And you might also consider having that as a as a bonus to your application, and also research with professors. I also recommend the students, even they are applying for bachelor degree, sometimes it's not bad outreaching the professor that interests you, and you really like his coursework, you really like what he's doing, and really find that you would like to maybe contribute to his work. You can definitely outreach. I had many cases of students who did that before they got into the institution, and that played a role when he eventually applied at the institution. So there are a bunch of different options a student might consider to be accepted. So it's more about how dedicated you are and how motivated you are.
Sure.
Good. So I think we've covered all the questions. If there are more of them that we haven't covered, and if you have some questions, please find our email on the website. You can also schedule a session with one of our EducationUSA advisors. So we hope that we can just guide you through this process. In case if you are starting now, in case if you're applying this fall, then yes, for sure you are now working already on your supplementals and your essays and your common apps. So good luck with that. Thanks once more, Arslan. Thank you for showcasing your story, your successful story, which is very inspiring, because I think the students tend to have this myth that only the students who would have an SAT, would have like a perfect GPA, would have everything perfect and everything done, they would succeed. But here is a very great case of a student who did a lot of leadership activities and was very involved in a bunch of activities, and he did them correctly, not just for quantity, but always for quality. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And for all of you who didn't have the chance to view us from the beginning, this session is going to be recorded, so you can see that on our YouTube channel. Again, on Thursday, we have a session on the test optional policy. And next week, we have a session with Matthew from College Board. We'll discuss about the SAT. In September, we really hope that we can also provide a session on CSS profile, which is also very important for students who are applying, because you have a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. So yes, if you still have questions, you know that you can find us using our email address. Thanks once again for joining us today. And thank you so much, Arslan. I really appreciate you sharing the experience. And have a great evening, everyone else.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Ms. Alina.